Hand salute. Left turn. Arch.
God. Halt. Present. Alles. Order. Alles. Right
Two.
Arch. Over. Arch.
Please uncover. O God of hosts, we bow our heads to thankfulness for the victories thou hast granted us. To us and those peoples who have united with us to stamp out the evils of aggression, intolerance, and greed. We beseech thee to bring the blessings of the understanding to the families and friends in this and other lands of those who have given their lives, that men may be free. Grant, O God, that those closest to the fallen may mingle to the pain of their losses with the ennobling light of the sacrifice of civilization, sacrifice for a better world for this and other generations yet unborn. Grant us too, O God, the courage to live with the family of nations around the world, that end the strife will be the beginning of enduring peace. Grant us patience in planning with our fellow men and women in a world which nations may resolve their differences by peaceful means. Touch thou the souls of people in every land with the enduring light of wisdom, so that may form a brotherhood which will strive to further the arts of peace under the laws and ethics blessed by thy love. Grant us now thy command, thy continued blessing upon unity and strength that makes victories possible in war, that we may win the greater victories of peace. Amen. You may be seated. Okay, at this time I'd like to recognize some guests. We have Alan White from the VFW 343 of DC. Round it. 341, I'm sorry. We have our past commander, George Schaub from the Prince George County, affiliated with Post 60 in Laurel. We have Richard Douglas, who's representing about 11 VFW members in our fight to save the Peace Cross.
Yeah.
We have Frank Porter, who is the current Prince George County commander. From the Irish War veterans, we have Austin Smith. Any other military people that would like to be recognized at this time? Okay, if not, I'll turn it over to Marion.
Phil reminded me last year, and Colonel Kiker, when you had the birds fly over for us. But today we have the sun coming out for us. So there's one thing or another. It always makes my heart very happy when I see the attendance here. And I know some of you just know we're going to be here. They call and they say, are you going to be there? And they say, yes, indeed, we'll be there another year. I have to tell you, this year, before I make the introductions, I will not be back another year. As Phil says, Marion, you say that every year. This is the year. This is the sun shining down. That's my husband saying, for gosh sakes, you know, go ahead and go through with it. I'll be working with the mayor and council, and we will be continuing, I certainly hope, with my urging, and I will be doing possibly the 4th of July and what the American flag means to me. But the two main programs, ceremonies that we do, Memorial Day and Veterans Day, I'm hoping I can get someone else to take those over. I tell you, at 81, I lean on the podium a bit. I have a cane and I have a chair to sit down when we have our guest speaker come up and talk to us. But I just find it's a little bit more difficult. And without the wonderful support of the staff and the people I'm going to thank before we finish here today, I couldn't do it, and I don't think anyone could do it. It's a pleasure to be here, and I just said to Phil, one of the things that really kind of keeps me going is looking out and seeing you here, because you know we'll be here. And we have people from the community, we have elected officials, we have the veterans, VFW and American Legion, all here because Peace Cross is a place where we hold these ceremonies. And at this point, I want to ask our mayor to come up with here, if he will. And I'm going to rely on him for some of the introductions. And then also, Mayor, if you would introduce the other town's officials, and then if you will do that, and I'll talk at the end.
Let's give former Councilmember Hoffman a hand for all the great work that she always does in the community. And please charge it to my head and not my heart if I miss someone, but I'm going to try to introduce, because everyone here is a distinguished guest, but we have a few individuals we want to recognize. We have the former chair of the Prince George's County Council, Ingrid Turner, is here. We have from my council in Bladensburg, Councilmember Beverly Hall. Councilmember Walter Ficklin. Councilmember Chris Mendoza. We have from Colmore Manor, the Vice Mayor.
How about your other councilman?
Oh, Councilmember Selwyn Bridgman, I saw him on the side. We have from Colmore Manor, we have Vice Mayor Vivian Jackson. Councilmember Doretha Epps. Councilmember Blue, I saw her. We have from Cottage City, we have Commissioner Demetrius Givens. We have our very own delegate representing the state of Maryland, District 47A, Delegate Jimmy Tarlow. We have our State of Maryland Attorney General, Brian Frosh. We have a great friend of our community, the Director of the Prince George's County Family Services Department, Ms. Teresa Grant. And I believe that covers everybody. If did I miss anybody, Council Lady? If you are an elected official and I did not mention your name, will you please stand just in this so we can greet you? Wow, I did a great job. Oh. Yeah, it's on the former Manor Mayor. What's his name? Ed Mushler, the former mayor of Colmore Manor, yes. And we have another hand all the way in the back. Oh, council member from Cheverly, thank you.
Very nice.
I always say we're different jurisdictions, but we're one community, so welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
I I think that's the commander from Chevrolet next to her, isn't it? Yes, that's what I was going to say. I don't know if you introduced him or not. And but since you were standing next to her, and I think I remember your being here before, so I wanted to indicate that you were here too. It's always nice to have the nearby communities. Okay. Family services person. Yes, here you're coming because I don't have your name on my paper, and you don't see Rashurin's yet, do you? Now you wanted Rashurin to say something before the destiny.
Okay, I'll say something. Okay.
Can you say my title?
Teresa Grant, I'm director of
We have, don't go away, we have someone that's going to speak to you for a few moments with the hopes that our county executive will be here shortly. But since he's not here at this very moment, and this is the time to say something, Teresa Grant, the Director of Family Services, would like to make a few comments.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. First of all, I just want to say greetings. It's indeed an honor to be here at Peace Cross, Bladensburg, basically a community in which I grew up with. It's my pleasure to extend to you greetings on behalf of our county executive who's trying to get here. But as many of you know, he's a caregiver, and sometimes it's not always easy to get away. But indeed, veterans are indeed dear to him. As many of you know, he grew up in a veteran family, traveled the world through the military, and what we hope to do is we want to do better by veterans here in Prince George's County. You may not realize it, but there are 62,000 veterans that live here in Prince George's County. That is the largest number of veterans in the state of Maryland. One of the things that we have been doing over the last year, and thank you to Mr. Turner, we have been reaching out to veterans across Prince George's County and having focus groups. And so what we want to do, we want to do a better job in making certain that veterans here in Prince George's County know about the services and programs that they're entitled to. I'm going to tell you, these veterans, they deserve it, and we need to do our part to make sure they can access these services and benefits. Everybody knows freedom is not free. And people make great sacrifices, and not only the veterans, but their families, their children. And so we absolutely want to do better. The county executive has charged us to do better, and we will do better by the veterans in Prince George's County. I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to be here. I also want to recognize if there's any commissioners here from the Prince George's County Veterans Commission. We do provide support to that particular committee. But in addition to that, at the Department of Family Services, we do have a satellite office for the Maryland State Veterans Affairs Office. We want veterans in Prince George's County to know where to go to access the services and programs that they're entitled to. Thank you. This is indeed a great day. And I just want to share this with you. My mother, who's not here with us today, and I didn't grow up in a military family, but she loved this country. She loved the red, white, and blue, the flag. And so all of us, all four of her children, have great respect for the flag, for this country, and for the men and women who so proudly serve us. Thank you so very much for your service. We absolutely do appreciate you, and we can't do enough. Thank you so very much, and God bless everyone.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And what I'd like to do too is give you the names of all the organizations that we send to in regards to our ceremonies here, just to be sure that they are covered when you get your information out. This, as she mentioned, and I hope the county executive will get here, and if he does, we'll stop the proceedings and we'll give him a few minutes. But one of the things that occurs to me, and I've been here for over 40 years, is how much are we actually doing for the veterans? She gave you the number of veterans that are out there, and how are we contacting them? What are we doing for them and their families? you know, the ones that are overseas now. How are we helping them? So I'll be sure that all the addresses and all sent to you, just in case you are not sending to them on a regular basis, so that we can make the connection. Because, forgive me, but I know we stand up here, we talk, and you got a whole lot on your plate. But then it depends on what action is actually taken, and I think that's what's so very important. Thanks.
I forgot to mention one person's name. Not sure if he's here. Is there a Phil Munley here? He's the director with the Department of Maryland Veterans Affairs. No? Okay. I received in my email last night, a release from U.S. Senator Ben Cardin from Maryland that he would like me to read today. I haven't read this before, so I hope I get it all right. As America celebrates Veterans Day, we stand united in honoring the acts of selfless service for our nation's veterans. Our veterans have protected the American people and defended our values. These Americans are the bravest among us. We applaud the innumerable sacrifices that they and their loved ones have made for this great country. Maryland has been made stronger by the efforts of men and women who transitioned from defending our nation to improving their communities throughout our state. This Veterans Day, I would like in particular to recognize 3 such veterans as Marylanders who were members of the famed Tuskegee Airmen. William Colbert began his service to our nation in the New Deal era Civilian Conservation Corps and continued his service as a flight officer at the Tuskegee Army Airfield. Mr. Colbert was too ill to travel to Washington in 2007 to receive his Congressional Medal of Honor. This past spring, the senator had the distinct honor of traveling to Cumberland to present him with that medal. William E. Broadwater of Upper Maryland used the skills he had honed as part of the Tuskegee Airmen to become a commercial pilot. He went on to use those skills to become a senior administrator with the FAA and later started his own aviation business. Cyril O'Brien Sr. of Randallstown left Morgan State College to serve as an airman. After admirably serving his country, he returned to Morgan State, graduated, and went on to serve as a police officer. He also taught and coached at a number of universities. All 3 of these men continued to serve their country by working with various government agencies and institutions after they hung up their uniforms. All 3 of these men served with no expectation of fame or accolades and returned home to continue to make this country a better place. Sadly, all 3 of these men passed away this year. Our efforts to honor all our nation's veterans must be equally as resolved as was their commitment to defend this country. He is proud to have introduced legislation that authorizes the addition of the Wall of Remembrance to the Korean War Veterans Memorial. The Wall of Remembrance would list the names of the members of the Armed Forces of the United States who died in the theater in the Korean War, as well as the number of service members who were wounded in action, are listed as missing in action, or who were prisoners of war. Authorizing a Wall of Remembrance is just one way we can help ensure that those who died while serving our country in the forgotten war are no longer forgotten. He looks forward to celebrating a future Veterans Day at this well-deserved memorial. But we must never forget that memorials alone do not fill our solemn debt to veterans. As a country, we must always work to ensure that our veterans are given the tools they need to succeed when they return. Today we salute our veterans and thank them for defending our freedoms. Again, that was the U.S. Senators. release. What else we got here? I guess since the county executive isn't here at this time, I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, Albert D. White. He's with the Department of Maryland. He's our National Executive Committee.
Thank you, Phil, for that kind introduction. And it is, as Miriam said, it's great to see such a great turnout here today. And of course, I'm sure that Miriam is responsible for all the great weather we're having.
Husband up in heaven.
Her husband up in heaven, she said. President Woodrow Wilson first proclaimed Armistice Day, November the 11th, 1919, to mark the one-year anniversary of the ending of World War I. Historically, the celebration of this day is anchored in the marking of the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. In 1918, the time that the gun fell silent to end the Great War. During the past 96 years, Armistice Day became known as Veterans Day, a day set aside not to honor our heroes, but to honor all the outstanding men and women who served in the nation's armed forces since our founding more than 239 years ago. President Calvin Coolidge was known as Silent Cal because he didn't say much, but he was positively profound when he said, "The nation which forgets its defenders will itself be forgotten." Veterans Day observances traditionally honor all who have served in the U.S. military. And while we are here to honor all of those great men and women today, there is another special group that we didn't hear enough about. These are the veterans who have died for this country long after they stopped wearing their military uniforms. While their service obligation may have expired, their love of country endured. On September the 12th, 2012, 11 years and 1 day after the worst terrorist attack ever inflicted on American soil, 2 Navy SEAL veterans made the supreme sacrifice while protecting their fellow Americans who were under attack at the U.S. Embassy in Benghazi, Libya. Glenn Daugherty and Tyrone Woods knew the meaning of service. In an open letter to Glenn Daugherty, SEAL Teammate 3, Brandon Webb, wrote in the New York Times, "I still can't believe you punched out early on me, but glad to hear from you guys that you fought like a hero. No surprise there. You should know your efforts resulted in the rescue of over 20 Department of State personnel. They are alive today because of yours and Ty's heroic action." Tyrone Woods was described by his mother as a stellar SEAL who thrived on the adrenaline, excitement, and danger. In addition to his grieving mother, Ty is survived by his wife, an infant daughter, and 2 teenage sons, and countless friends. And it's important to remember not only the price that is paid by so many veterans to maintain our freedom, but the price paid by their heartbroken families as well. Journalist Abigail Pesta, who is a sister of Glenn Daugherty, wrote, "Today we held our funeral in his hometown of Winchester. During the procession from the funeral home to the church, the streets were lined with hundreds of people. Schools were let out, There were bands playing, people were holding signs. We have seen such a show of support from both the town that we grew up in and the nation that we live in. We feel so much love. Scenes similar to what occurred in Winchester, Massachusetts have taken place in many other cities and towns across America. We revere these heroes because they revered us, their families, their neighbors, their fellow citizens. A country is only as good as the people in it, and a land that could produce such heroes is truly a land worth serving. Commentator Ben Stein wrote several years ago, "The real star is a U.S. soldier who was sent to disarm a bomb next to a road north of Baghdad. He approached it and the bomb went off and killed him. A real star. The kind who haunts my memory night and day is the U.S. soldier in Baghdad who saw a little girl playing with a piece of unexploded ordnance on a street near where he was guarding a station. He pushed her aside and threw himself on it just as it exploded. He left a family in California and left a little girl alive in Baghdad." Veterans Day is a time to honor not just the heroes that Mr. Stein described, but in fact all of the outstanding men and women who served in our nation's armed forces since our founding more than 239 years ago. We should all endeavor to serve our veterans as well as they have served their nation. We should remember the motto of the past National Commander of the American Legion, James Counts, and that is, every day is Veterans Day. We must honor all of their families, and not just with blue and gold banners, but with compassionate hearts. PTSD, traumatic brain injury, and the life-altering war wounds not only affect the veteran, but can also take an enormous toll on the family as well. Sometimes all that is needed is a simple thank you, directed at the veteran or the family member for his or her sacrifices. Part of that sacrifice too often includes unemployment or underemployment when the veteran's military service is over. We must not forget the unique needs of women veterans. There are more than 1.8 million women in America today who have worn the uniform. It is tragic that the men and women who allow us to be safe in our homes are often without homes themselves when they shed their uniforms. 1 in 4 of American homeless population are veterans. 9 out of 10 were honorably discharged, and nearly half served during the Vietnam War. Too often today, tattered citizens of the street was yesterday's toast of the town in a crisp uniform with rows of shining medals, and this is hardly the thanks of a grateful nation. While fewer than 10% of Americans can claim the honorable title U.S. military veteran, this special group often provides vital services that enable our communities to function. Born of extraordinary accomplishments comes our extraordinary debt. And for those accomplishments and for their dedication, we must always be grateful. God bless you all for being here. God bless our veterans, and God bless America. Thank you.
And I'm going to make it and send you. Stay here for a minute. Don't go away. And I want to stay. Let me come on.
Have the Attorney General come up first.
No. County executive. Fine. County. I just took the mic away. Sorry about that. Sharon, would you come up here for a minute, please? Okay. Mr. Frosch, would you like to come too? He was going to have you come up, and I went up to you because I saw Sharon walk in. Okay. Now, what I'd like to do, Tracy, don't go away. I want a picture. Okay. Mayor, would you come up, please? And sir, I'd like you there. And you stay in too. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to get in here too in a minute. But what I like here is this is the government and the American Legion working together, but I'm going in the center.
You're the star of this
Here we go.
There you go.
There. So I can walk up here and not fall. You sure? I guess it's what you call after 40 years. At various levels of the government, and also having been a resident of Bladensburg for 58 years, if you can imagine that. Put that in your pocket.
Yes,
no,
ma'am.
don't go away. I want you to say a few words. She already spoke.
I'm going to have Brian. I don't know if Brian say we got our Attorney General here, so I'm going to let him go first. Brian, please.
Well, it's an honor to be here with you in Prince George's County. Your county executive, Rashawn Baker, is excellent in terms of addressing the issues and problems that veterans face today. Veteran homelessness is intolerable, as has already been said. Each generation of veterans has its scars, its hopes, and its dreams, and on most days you carry your history with you silently. You did your job, you did it well, you've come home, returned to civilian life. Today we speak out loud our thanks, our gratitude, but you should know that every day we carry in our hearts our gratitude for your service. Thank you. God bless you. God bless America.
If we can we give Marion Hoffman a round of applause? Isn't she great? I was speeding down here, and I want you to know that my wife's in the car, so I wanted to make sure we've come here. I think every year that I've been in elective office, and when I was in elective office, to Peace Cross. It has a special meaning for me, as I know it does for the Turners, because like them, I grew up in the military. So the person that shaped me was my dad, who served 30 years in the Army, Green Berets. So much so that when I got out of law school, I felt that I had to give something back, and I joined the reserves in the Judge Advocacy Corps, just like Councilwoman Turner. And so this is an important time for us to say thank you to you, to the veterans, to the family members, especially to the family members. We know, especially, that when our men and women are deployed, the family feels the brunt of it. When you're out there, as my dad used to say, when he went to Vietnam, he did 2 tours. He sent us to Massachusetts. I've said this before. He sent us to Massachusetts, where his mom was. And so when I was older, I said, Dad, why did you take us out of Fort Bragg and send us to Massachusetts, away from our friends, away from my mom's, friends at Fort Bragg? And he said, because I was old enough to know, he said, you know what? At the time, just in case something happened to me, I wanted you to be around all of our family members when that came. I also wanted to get you out of an environment where people were dying. And folks to the left of you and to the right of you were getting that notice. And during his last tour, he was wounded, severely wounded. We weren't sure he was going to make it. But when the Red Cross and the military came, they came to all of us, my grandmother, my mom, my brothers and my sister and I together. But it always reminds me of the sacrifice not only that our veterans make, but you make as family members. I will end like this. Mr. Wright is absolutely correct. One of the things that we're trying to address in this administration is the number of homeless vets. We had the highest number of homeless vets in Prince George's County, in Maryland. We have the highest number. We've got to stop that. We also have to make sure that when our veterans come home and take off the uniform, that they're given the same opportunities as everyone else, especially as they want to grow their business. So the commitment we have of this administration is we're going to do everything we can to make sure that happens. God bless you. God bless America.
Here, I got his hand.
Mr. Baker, I want to shake your hand. I vote for you every year that Jack Shack.
We're going to have some floral tributes now, and I'm holding on to his hand so he doesn't get away. Let me have that. That's for you. Let me have that.
Also lived in places for 31 years.
I'm going to ask for Sharon if he will, we go back so many years. It's for Sharon. Sorry about that, county executive.
That's for sure.
If I called you county executive, you think something was wrong.
I would.
To place the first wreath for my husband. Richard was returning from China, I think, when Warren died.
Yeah.
And I got a lovely letter, and you called and all, but you weren't here. I have a little wreath here for Warren, and I wonder if you would place that with me. And then after that, if you would place the wreath for Prince George's County. And God love him, his wife is in the car. God bless him. And so I really appreciate your getting here. Absolutely. So the first one, Mayor, would you come up, please? I'm just going to ask the Mayor and Sharon and Mayor.
Both sides of it.
No, next to it. No, over one. There. Yeah. And the county exec, anyone else from the county, your family services, and from County, anybody from the county now?
Thank you, sir.
Now, why don't we do it right up here?
While they're presenting that, I want to give the county executive another accolade. He's not in the suit. He's here with his wife and just came in to present his respects and give a few words. So I'm going to ask for another round of applause for the county executive. Mayor James. Praise them from Councilwoman Blue from Homer Man's grandchildren. She said, "Did we want them in the picture?" And I said, "Of course."
A lot of grandchildren. Squish together there.
Oh, Diana Nellis just walked in. Diana, run up here quick, because you're a former mayor. Anyone here from Edmonds says something happening? And there's only, how many people have been coming to this ceremony? Like 30. Okay. Anybody else? I know one. Okay. Ed Munster, I know. So I'm going to your daughter to help you. I know. And Rashurin, could I ask, Rashurin, excuse me, come on up for a minute, and the Attorney General, please. This is a patriotic committee, and I know you want to be part of the patriotic. In fact, Rashurin was probably, you were here 20 years ago, I bet. Friend Gallion, Gallman, and two of her friends are presenting a wreath for their cousin. It's a Priya. Sorry about that. Tracy, get one of that, Tracy.
Okay, I see we have a wreath over here for the VFW. Irish War veterans. The Ladies Auxiliary, Post 131.
Phil, who also does the tricks? Would you like to mention that now? What? No.
Legionnaires of Post 131.
Hi, Frank. Phil, what you want to Phil? What you want to get nothing? No?
Is anyone else here that has a wreath? I see we have 2 left. Anybody want to claim them? You got anything?
Before we close out, okay, we have our senator here too. You'll have to forget me. Part of me is political and part of me is town resident. Victor, come up and say hello. I'm not gonna, you're like this. How about this? I'm not going to let you speak. But would you come up in front of everybody and say hello? Our State Senator Victor Ramirez. There he is.
To the mic, Vic.
No, so thank you. I just want to say thank you very much.
Now, since the county exec invited him up to the mic, I'm going to let him say a word.
It's good to have our county executive here, our attorney general, and all the many people here. Happy Veterans Day. Enjoy. Thank you very much for the sacrifice that you have given. You and your families enjoy it. I apologize. I was mentioning that this is my 3rd one today, and as you can imagine, Veterans Day it's the 11th day and 11th hour and 11th month, and you can only be there but so many times. But I did want to come by and say thank you for the service. God bless you. Thank you.
I want to make a comment here in relation to elected officials and the American Legion. I think we've heard a lot about the programs in Prince George's County, and of course we have our state official here, of what is being done for the veterans. And I hope this will carry on, and to me, that's a wonderful togetherness. The veterans and then the county and the state, of course, too, working together and doing something for those veterans. I want to mention one other person, and I'm not going to ask her to say anything, but she's tiny, so she's going to have to stand up and turn around and wave. Renee Green has done a wonderful job in relation to Peace Cross. absolutely wonderful. And we certainly hope to have some word on that yesterday, Rashern. I don't know, and Brian and everybody else. I don't think there's anything, yeah, if you can, in that. I certainly would hope we would have some word on that soon. Thanks so much, dear. I want to give a few thank yous. And it happens that most of the time I don't do this, but I called the police chief up here a couple of times. I know he's always pleased to do that, and his wife Julie is with him here, and Charlie Owens is the police chief, the county, not the county commissioner, boy that'd be something, poor Charlie, I wouldn't do that to you, the town administrator, how about that, and then next to him is Danny Needham, who is our code enforcement officer. I'd like to thank all the police that are here to get us across the streets and in one piece. Tracy, of course, who takes the picture, and I'm glad we, excuse me, got him in one picture anyhow. And Public Works, who sets the chairs out, the table, and actually we take the wreaths up too. So if anyone wants their wreath, you might want to take it with you, but then you have to bring it back the next year because we do store them though in the Public Works facility. And last of all, somebody who's not here is Diane Griffin. She is the secretary. She's on staff, and all of the staff are very, very helpful in terms of putting on something such as this. I'm not going to say anything about next year at this point in time, but I will be getting together with people to set something up because we certainly want to have this continued. And when we stand here and I see the cars going by and all that, and they look and they beat their horns and they say, hey, Veterans Day, they're celebrating Veterans Day. David Harrington was mayor and I was on council in 9/11. And we were here and we were giving out flags and the cars were coming by. This memorial is to everyone, starting with World War I and going through 9/11. It is a memorial, and then we have Vietnam, Korea, and we have World War II. Something we haven't done anything with, Rashern, is the 9/11 memorial. Now this is terrible, you know. It's a beautiful memorial. It was there. I don't think we've had anything, and I don't have anything to do with it. Thank you. I don't want it, sorry. But it's there, and I think we should, and you know, but let me tell you this too, sorry to everybody. Right next to it is Pearl Harbor. Just a small little plaque. So you have the two times the United States were attacked, Pearl Harbor and 9/11, right next to each other. Finally, yeah, see, thank you, there you go. That was timely. Finally, we have the 1812 memorial that was just put up to the Battle of Bladensburg. Yes, and Dick Charlton and John Giannetti don't normally come here, but they're the ones that really spearheaded that. There's another plaque to it up in the cemetery, and there's a plaque because that's where the ceremony used to be for the War of 1812. But finally, and Phil, I know, is going to invite you to a luncheon, but since my town knows, the town always contributes $100 to the luncheon that the American Legion prepare for us, and I'd like to give him that check today, and I thank you.
Thank you, Mary. I'd also like to say thank you to the ROTC, Bladensburg High School, presenting the colors. For Colonel Kiker, the bugle, and Suzette Reed for doing the program.
Oh, please, yes.
Okay. At this time, we're going to close the meeting now, or the ceremony now. After the ceremony is completed, as Marion said, there'll be lunch at the Post 131 luncheon. I hope you all know how to get there. Go up to McDonald's, hang a left, and we're back there. like to fly over the geese better. Okay, this time, everyone, please rise. Remove your hats, please. Our Heavenly Father, we deem this a fitting time to pay our respects to our departed comrades. As we stand with bowed heads in reverence to them, let us remember the good deeds they accomplished. Let us revere them as good soldiers who fought the good fight in a just cause. Let us silently pray for peace, the peace that passes all understanding. And let us in mind and soul consecrate our hearts and lives to the America, the land of the free and the home of the brave, the America worth fighting for. As we stand in silence to our departed comrades, may we sincerely say, may their souls rest in peace. Let us also remember the POWs and the MIA still unaccounted for in all wars and conflicts of the United States. Amen. Recover. This time we'll retire the colors of our country. Hand salute.
Left turn. March. Oh. Hold. Freeze it. Hold this.
Two.
Order. Order. Right, sir. Arch. Over. Arch.
That concludes our ceremony. Thanks everyone for coming.
Thank you very much.